In this video, I want to talk about how to test array-based methods. So let's say that we're writing a method that returns an array, and let's say it does something with another array. Okay? So let's say that just for the sake of this example, that it always returns the array of values 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in actuality, when we're writing more complicated methods and methods that actually do things, which we'll do in the next video, there may be some logic here that does some stuff regarding A. But for now, I want to show you how to write unit tests involving arrays. Okay, so again, we're just going to create a tester class. Now, this would normally be set up for you, but yeah. So let's fix the JUnit assertions, and it's not wanting to work. So give me one moment. All right, we're back. Again, the way to fix those types of things is just to invalidate the caches, and yeah, so that's what I did. Now, I also went ahead and typed out this method header. So, if we want to test an array, we generally want to see if it returns the desired result. Okay? So, like for example, if let's say, so in this case, we want this program or this method to return the array 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So you might think, all right, we're going to use assert equals, and then we're going to pass. So the expected array is a new int of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to call the array examples. We're going to call foo, and then now we can give it an input. So we can do, it doesn't matter what the input is, but we can do new int of 1 to 300, whatever. It doesn't matter, okay? Now, you may think, okay, well, so this should work, right? The expected is this, the actual is what we're testing, so let's test this file, and for some reason it didn't automatically create the tests for me, so we'll fix that. There we go. So, now you're going to get something like this. So, what in the world is this saying? So, again, when we return, or when we pass arrays, and when we return arrays, we're passing the memory address of that array. Now, that's not exactly correct, because it's actually something called the hash code, but for our purposes, we don't need to care about the hash code at the moment. But what is going on here? This is saying that it expects the array 1, 2, 3, 4, but it was the array 1, 2, 3, 4. So what in the world is happening here? Well, what's happening is Java is saying that this array and this array, the one that we pass, or the one that we pass here, is different from the one that we return here. They have the same values, that's correct. They have the same values. But what it's testing here is not element equality, it's testing object equality. So, do you remember when we talked about strings, right? We said don't compare them using equals equals. If you want to compare strings for character equality, you use the dot equals method, right? Well, unfortunately, Java doesn't have something like that for arrays. Arrays are very primitive in Java. So, what you actually have to do is use this assert array equals method. Now, this will allow you to test arrays for content equality, right? So the expected array has values 1, 2, 3, 4, and the actual array also has values 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if we change this, let's say that we change the test. Let's say the test is wrong, and we rerun this. Now we're going to say, how does this work? Well, if the array lengths are different, like it is here, then it's going to say the array lengths differ. The expected an array of length 5, but we gave it an array of length 4, or what this returned was an array of length 4. And that makes sense, right? So this method, when we call it, returns an array of length 4, but we're expecting it to return an array of length 5. Okay? So, but let's say that both arrays return the same lengths, or that both arrays are of the same length, but the elements differ. So let's see what happens there. So now it's going to say the array lengths, or the array contents differ at some given index. So at some index, it's going to expect some value, so it expects 5, but the one that we returned was value 100. Okay? So it's very important to read these errors, right? So a lot of students will just ignore the errors, but these errors are very important. So if it says this, then that means that either your test is incorrect, which is hopefully not likely, but in this case that actually is the case, but that's just because the method is so simple, right? We haven't really done anything here. But read these error messages, right? They're very important. So if it says the array contents differ at some index, and it expected 5 but was 100, then you should know how to look into that. Okay? So bottom line, rule of thumb, assert array equals compares the contents of arrays, and assert equals will compare the arrays for their object equality. And what that means is, do they reference the same array under the hood? Okay?